Hey Karsten, David here. So this is the video follow-up to what we talked about with your swings. So let's take a look here. Takeaway looks quite good. I would suspect that your camera angle is aimed a little bit more towards the knees or the hips. I had another student do this recently. Not a huge deal, but my point is it will create the illusion that the takeaway is more out in front of you than it is. So this takeaway is actually very good. All right, so from P1 to P2, this is great. Nice amount of shoulder tilt you're starting to create. Setup looks good. Really no criticism here. When you get to P3, just a little bit, I would say, your shaft, see how the plane is, you're pointing outside of the ball. I think that getting that club aimed a little bit more this way, closer to, we'll say 64, will help, because what we're finding at the top, and it's subtle, but right there, I'm going to go ahead and mark this with an arrow. You could see that slight twisting motion just creeping in a little bit still in transition. Not bad though. When you look at the arm structure, you look at the plane, you look at your hips are staying back. I mean, this is way, way better than before. Takeaway again, really, really good. P3, I'd like to see that club. If we pull up, like, let's say a Fleetwood here. So a couple of differences here. Obviously, if we monitor the head, right, I talked about that drill. So his head will get lower. And then we look at, this is what I wanted to mention too about the club face. So if we measure this club face, we'll call that 10 degrees. It should really be matching your left arm. So if your left arm's at 45 and the club face is at 10, that would indicate that club face is 35 degrees closed relative to your left arm. And I'll send you a text message of your rehearsal where that club face was a lot more neutral. And again, I'm being critical here, and maybe that's not a big concern unless you are indeed hitting some misses to the left. But ideally, again, you look at Fleetwood, you can see the difference in the club face here. So this is in a little bit more of a square position. Even his is marginally shut, so we don't have to go crazy with data on this, but check out though at impact, hips are looking way better. More open than before. I can see you got I like to use a water bottle. You have the WD-40, so you're getting that right foot to kind of shoot more inward, which is good. I mean, ideally, we want to exaggerate that so that you feel as if that bottle is going out towards your staircase here. That would sort of be the idea. Again, very nice takeaway, as I've already stated more than once. Just, again, watch out for that head lifting. So again, I think doing that wall drill with the turn will help a lot. So then in the downswing, we go to P5. Your head is starting to drop, which is good. We want that. We want it to stay down. But then it's going to rise up as we go from P6 to P7 a little bit. So again, still fighting coming out of your posture just a little, but so much better than before. Let me get rid of these lines. Let's just watch Tommy Fleetwood here, what happens with his head movement. So definitely down, right, in the backswing. And then down even more in the forward swing. All while it didn't back up an inch. Again, another example too of the hips staying deep, getting very open, and we can see how his right leg works inward. So I think that water bottle drill / WD-40 will suit you well. So to conclude, one more time, I think with these rehearsals, that little twisting action right here around P4, we can get the shaft just a little bit more vertical, because if it's flat early at P3, we'll tend to want to twist that way a little bit later. So you get that shaft a little more vertical. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little. And we get this right arm maybe to gain a little bit more depth. I know Fleetwood doesn't do that, but for your normal person, if there's a lack of depth with the right arm, it will tend to look for more depth later at the end of the swing, resulting in that little subtle twist. But again, you look down, we talked about this too during our recording, or the FaceTime, I should say. So I know, again, the camera angle is a little bit aiming this way ever so slightly, so this will make it appear that you're coming in more out in than you are, but I think this downswing pattern looks really good. So if anytime the club is going underneath the right forearm, I would call that stuck. That's not ideal. So the ideal picture would be on the right forearm is just fine. Slightly above it is also just fine, especially, again, if we get your TrackMan numbers, we want to get it, instead of +2, I'd like to see it a little closer to 0. In a perfect world, 0-0 is fine. Or if you're combating early extension or blocks, even aiming to play a very, very subtle fade might be a reasonable goal. So anyways, let me know what questions you have. Keep me posted, and I'll send you a text message of that photo of the club face just so you can see the difference there. Keep up the great work.